this is Andy Gardner, one of the instructors over at Highlander, and I'd like to have a little look now at just some things to consider when working with images in InDesign. When you place an image into InDesign by default using File and Place, the image is placed in there as a linked image, and you can see at the top of the image this little link symbol. What this means is InDesign is not necessarily putting the full resolution of the image on the screen there, it's linking back to the original image file. And it's important when you're outputting the document that you make sure none of those links are broken. Now, this can be checked automatically using the pre-flighting, but you can also check this in the links panel here. So if you go into the links panel, I have two images on the page here. One you see has a little link symbol above it, and it's clearly a linked image that's working absolutely fine. The second one has a little red circle with a question mark in there. And if I hold the mouse over there, it'll actually tell me what's going on, and what's going on is basically the link is missing. It's a broken link and it can't find the original image. Now, I can still see the image here on the page, as you can see, so in terms of my preview within InDesign, it's still showing. But if I tried to output this document for print in particular, then the resolution wouldn't be there in order to produce a quality print copy, and I'd end up with a very, very poor reproduction. It would be pretty awful. So what I need to do first is fix this broken link. Now, again, in the links panel here, which you can open from the side here, and if you don't see it there, you can go to the window menu and down to links here to open it from here. In the links panel, I can see any of these broken links, and again, if I hold my mouse over there, it says missing, double click to relink. So to fix that broken link, I simply need to double click here, and it will open a dialog box open. I then need to find the actual image wherever it is that's been renamed. So it's this one here, it's been renamed, so there's a little letter B being put on the end of the name. And I can click open, and it will now replace the image, and you will see this link update, and it's now fixed it and put the link back in there. Now, it may be that somebody's moved the image to a different folder rather than renaming it or something like that, and you simply need to go look for that. And InDesign is pretty smart, and provided you haven't turned the setting off in the preferences, it will look for any other broken links in the same folder as well. So if you've had a number of images moved all within one folder, InDesign's pretty intelligent, and by default will pick those up and relink those broken links. In addition to having images in here which are linked like this, it is possible to embed the images in here as well, and you can go over to the image in the links panel and right click on there and embed a link. And you'll see you have this little symbol appears here, and the little link symbol at the top of the image equally has now disappeared. What that's telling me is that the full resolution version of the image is now embedded into my InDesign document. Now, there are some scenarios in which that's useful, and particularly if it's only a single image, something like a logo on a document, it may be worth doing that. But as a general rule, what you'll find is if you start embedding all your images, it will really bloat the size of your InDesign document, and even on a fast machine it will start to become kind of a little bit jumpy and a little bit slow when you're navigating between pages. As I say, there are exceptions. You know, if it's only a single image like a logo at the top of the page, then that may be perfectly feasible to do that. But in general, I wouldn't recommend kind of embedding all your images into your InDesign documents, because that's potentially going to cause you some issues. The other thing that the links panel is useful for is when I click on either of these images, if I just unembed that one, I'll right click there and I'll just simply relink, and we'll relink back to the original folder. So we'll click open, so that's now no longer an embedded link, it's now got the little link symbol there. The other thing to bear in mind when you're in this links panel, you can have a look down at the information on the particular image. So if I switch between images here, you can see the information down here is changing. And I can see some useful things down there. I can see, for example, the size of the image file, the colour space it's in. I can also see the actual resolution and the effective resolution. Now, the actual PPI is the resolution of the original image, so in this case it's 150 PPI, or pixels per inch. Now, that's not really a quality that I'd be happy going to print with normally. I'd look to be aiming for more like 300 PPI for going to print. However, having said that, this image, when I've placed it on the page, I've obviously then scaled it, I've made it a little smaller on the page. And what that's done is effectively press up those pixels per inch, and it's made it 350 pixels per inch is the effective resolution, as opposed to the original actual resolution of 150. Now, 350 pixels per inch is absolutely fine for going to print, there'll be no problem with that. So in this instance, I wouldn't have a problem printing with that, even though the original image was a little too small. By the time I've actually resized it on the page, I've got a reasonable enough resolution to print from. Similarly, the second image started at 240, which would have been a little bit borderline for printing, but the effective PPI is 617, which is pretty sizable. So again, I'd be more than happy going off to print with that, and I shouldn't have any issues with either of those two coming out kind of pixelated or any problems when they're printed out. So that's a few useful cases for the links panel. Some things to check for when working with images, and just be aware of those broken links, and in particular if you're going to print, make sure you do fix any of those before you send it off to the printers.